Hi, Marilyn O'Hearn here with John Cook, and he is the the global CEO of VMLY&R. And we're at CBIZ this morning, and he's going to be presenting on creativity and design. So, John, give us a little preview of the program for today.
Yes, thanks for having me. First of all, good job on saying VMLY&R. It's a mouthful. I'm still getting used to saying that.
I've been practicing, yes.
But anyway, yeah, today we're speaking on the design and creativity, and I'm going to talk about, in this particular era, the fact that consumers, our expectations are so high for the experiences that they'll have with brands, and that the best experience you have with a company is now the level set bar for the experience you'll have with anyone. And so that puts a lot of demand on brands and on organizations to have amazing experiences. So I'm going to talk about design thinking as a way to really penetrate and create attention in that experience era. It's going to be fun. We're going to show a lot of really imaginative ways to reach consumers.
Great. And in a minute, I want to hear a quick example of that, if you could share. And I'm also sure that a lot of people listening, leaders and coaches, are wondering, how do you stay creative? You're in a creative field. As you talk about, the expectations are high.
Right.
So how do you keep your creativity up?
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of a wannabe creative, and the creative department tries to keep me far away from that part of it. So no, well, a couple different ways. I just hang out with a lot of very creative people. We've got amazing, talented people all over the world that's what they do for a living, and I get to be around them. It makes me creative by the halo of their creativity. And then I have three daughters that are all in college or high school, teenaged, aged, and they know everything about every platform and every way to reach consumers, and keep me really humble about how to do that.
Humility, that is a key
yes.
aspect of leadership as
it's
well.
It's been beaten into me by my children.
Yes, and surrounding yourself with people that inspire you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. So we talked about a quick example.
Yeah, I'm gonna use several examples. I love an example from Delta Airlines. They're not a client of ours; they're just somebody I admire. I fly them all the time, way too much. And I think they exceed experience expectations among all the airlines in a really good way. A couple falls ago during the election, I got an email from them. I'm a frequent flyer. They used a couple pieces of data really well to make it seem like we had a personal connection. They knew that I was flying on election day because they had a flight that day, and they knew what state I lived in. With those two pieces of information, about 3 weeks in advance, I got a note from them that said, "Hey, we see you're flying on election day. Make sure to be able to cast your vote. Here's the link to how you do that in the state of Kansas where you live." And they put all that right into one email from me. I didn't expect that from my airline, and I don't think it's a technology marvel by any means. They had two pieces of information that were pretty easy. They packaged those together. They exceeded my expectation. I'm a lifelong loyal customer for things like that.
I love that. And I'm thinking also, I saw recently a post that Delta, an image, they had a photo image of two female pilots flying together, and it was a mother and a daughter.
Oh.
So, even because that's a hot topic, and one of my passions is breaking free from bias and being creative about being inclusive. Yeah.
Well, I think inclusivity and creativity starts with having teams, the people generating the ideas, looking like, being like, understanding who they're trying to communicate with. And it's impossible to connect if the creators aren't somewhat of a mirror image of who they're creating for. And I think too often in ad agencies or any environment where there's creativity, you've got people who have no idea about the audience they're connecting with because they haven't walked in those shoes. And I think that's an important aspect to creativity.
Absolutely. And having the mix in the teams, right? So not everybody looks or acts or thinks the same way.
Right.
That's the research of why organizations with inclusivity are more profitable.
I agree.
Yeah. So anything else you want to say, just parting words here? We're delighted CBIZ is sponsoring this.
Yeah. No, nothing for me. We've talked about, I'm excited about today. It's, I thought about design thinking in the experience era, and the best way to do it is just to show examples. So your question about the example is a good one. You can put all the science to it you want. At the end of the day, it's about what do people experience and how do they feel. So that's what my presentation will be about. It's just let's live the thinking.
Well, I'm excited, and I know the others here are too. We're going to have a great turnout, and so I can't wait to hear the rest of the presentation. Thanks for being with us,
Thank you. Thanks for
John.
having me.